So, it was a week ago today that I received this for my birthday. Now, I've had some new subscribers in the last week, so I should go over a quick overview of what this is. This is called the Bookport Plus, and it is distributed by American Printing House for the Blind. They also developed the software for this. The hardware has been developed by a third party, namely Shinano Kenshi, aka Plex Talk of Japan. The device has, I'm going to just go over the hardware again for those of you who are new subscribers and may not understand this. So we have our SD card slot, power, USB. We have our lock and unlock switch, volume, excuse me. And we have our volume switch on the side. We have our headphone jack and our microphone jack. What don't we have? A screen, right? Well, that's because this device is meant for people who are blind or have some usable vision, but not enough to effectively read small print for long periods of time, and I fall into the latter category. Making enlarged books can be very cumbersome. And I remember in school we'd had to have books that were a lot bigger than the average book. This makes things a lot easier. I already went over the key describer in my Bookport Plus overview video. But I'm going to say that since then, I've managed to get things like podcasts and web radio set up. And I'm just going to give you a quick demonstration of how the web radio works.
Key lock. Key lock off.
So let me go in and turn on the wireless.
Menu. Edit. System. Enter. System properties. Restore factory defaults. Delete authorization keys. Network settings. Enter. Network information. Enable or disable wireless networking. Enter. Disable. Enable. Enter. Set. SD card. All titles list. Select title. Daisy title. 9. Steve Jobs. Publication date 2011. Publisher. Bookshare. In the folder. Bookshare. 23 titles in this category. Select folder. Bookshare. Web radio. Nirvana radio. 3 stations in this folder. Select title. Nirvana ambient. 3. Nirvana meditation.
Let's see if we can get this one to work. It's been sort of a hit and miss for me.
Connecting to wireless network.
So you get the idea. That's how the wireless, that's how the web radio works. You can also use the wireless to download podcasts, and I've got some podcasts on this device.
SD card. All titles list. Select folder. Nirvana radio. Daisy title. NLS. Music. All music.
I've also got some music on here.
Music. 1. Albums in this folder. Text. Text. Podcast. Podcast. 5. Feeds in this folder. Select title. CNN Radio News. 2. Freedom Scientific-FS Cast. Select file.
FSCast episode 75, February 2013.
Welcome to FSCast, the official podcast of Freedom Scientific. This is Jonathan Mosen bringing you edition number 75 for February 2013.
So you get the idea. So we've got your podcasts, music, and that title, Steve Jobs. That's the Steve Jobs biography by Walter Isaacson that I'm currently in the middle of. So I've got the web radio up. I've got podcasts going. So, one more thing. I actually wanted to demonstrate one more thing.
Menu. Edit. Use right or left arrow to choose item. System. Media management. Enter. Media and title. Erase SD card. Create new title. Create new text file. Enter. You are about to create a new text file. Are you sure? Enter. Please wait. Text file created. Text editing mode.
So now we're in text editing mode. Keys 1, 4, and 7 are dots 1, 2, and 3 of a Braille cell. Keys 3, 6, and 9 are dots 4, 5, and 6. So I'm going to go ahead and type something. Now you're going to just hear some clicks because in order to really speed this up, I have to use both fingers. So hang on while I set the camera down.
J.
Oops.
J. Backspace. T. H. I. S. Space. I. S. Space. A. Space. J. E.
J,
Backspace. T. E. S. J.
J,
Back T. Space. F. O. R. Space. Equals.
equals,
Backspace. Y. O. U. T. U. B. E. Dot.
So I've got some text entered. Let's take a look and have it read back.
Go to %. 0. Enter 0%. Beginning of title.
this is a test for Yauta.
End of title.
Obviously, the speech doesn't know how to pronounce the word YouTube properly, but you get the idea. So we're going to get out of here by going into the menu system.
Menu. Delete current line.
Now you notice the menu options have changed. This is strictly for the text editor itself.
Delete all text. Save text. Save and exit text editor. Exit text editor without saving.
So we're going to do that.
Enter. You are about to exit the text editor without saving the file. Are you sure? Enter. Editor cancelled without saving. Exit text editor. SD card. All titles list. Select title. Text. 1.
Don't forget to order the micro USB to HDMI adapter TXT.
In the folder.
Text.
4. Titles in this category.
It will take the first line of your file. So if you only have one line of text, that's going to become your file name. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, well, first of all, I want to disable the wireless so that it doesn't drain the battery.
Menu. Edit. System. Enter. Networks. Enter. Enable. Enter. Disable. Enter. Set.
Well, now I'm going to talk about what I think of the device. After having used it for a week, I love it. I've got web radio stations. I've got podcasts. I've got all my books. I've got my music. I can wirelessly download the podcasts. This is all in a device that is about the size of a cell phone or another media player. But the catch is, you don't have to worry about small fonts or accidentally tapping something. I've noticed that with the Galaxy Note, ever since I had it, that on occasion, without meaning to, just putting it in my pocket, because I'm not exactly sure where my fingers fall on the screen, that I'll end up, performing some function or tapping something, or I'll end up waking it up, With this device, that's not possible because the keys definitely require a little bit of force to press, and also, if I switch the key lock on,
Key lock on.
then it's impossible to hit something. Now, granted, obviously, this is not a full device. It's not a smartphone. But as far as specialized players go, because this player plays music, it plays audiobooks, but that particular copy of Steve Jobs, nobody else can read it except me. It's been signed to my name, and it's been signed to my Bookshare account. And Bookshare is a service for people with print disabilities. I also have, you heard, NLS, National Library Service for the Blind. Again, unique to this player. Now, I've been told that the NLS is developing a software player, and Bookshare already has some out. But one of the advantages is you know where everything is. I mean, you've got very tactile, very easy to locate buttons versus icons on a touch screen where it varies from developer to developer. You don't know what you're gonna, you don't know what to expect. Even with a screen reader, some developers don't know how to properly label their graphics. Whereas with this, you don't need to worry about any of that. It is built for the blind. It is built for people with print disabilities. It is built with accessibility in mind. Also, if you go back to my Bookport Plus overview, the key describer is extremely thorough and extremely easy to follow. After having used this for a week, this device has gotten me into podcasts. This device has gotten me into web radio. I don't think I could have gotten there with an iPod, funny as it may sound, because I'd end up, I want to try to save the vision that I have. And I feel like if I had a podcast that I would be tempted to look at the cover art like I do with my music, even though it's an audio podcast. With this, that's impossible. And actually, I like that. I like the fact that it doesn't have a screen. It allows me to have a fully accessible, very usable interface while at the same time preserving my eyesight. That's another thing I wanted to talk about. So if I were to recommend the Bookport, if I had to, I would recommend the Bookport Plus in a heartbeat. But switching gears for a moment, and you can see the green light's gone out. It's gone to sleep. And if I push any key now, you notice that it doesn't do anything. That's because our key lock is on, so it's a very fail-safe mechanism. You don't get that on a touchscreen device, and I really wish you did. I mean, yeah, you've got your screen lock and whatnot, but if the power button is so easily pushed and easy to jimmy around in your pocket, you don't know what's going on. Whereas with this, there's definitely a very tactile response. Now, back to what I was saying. So if I had to recommend this, I would definitely recommend the Bookport Plus, 10 out of 10 stars. How many of you out there are in front of a computer for 8 hours a day? I am, primarily just for leisure stuff, but I suspect I'll be that way because I'll be coming into possession of my master's pretty soon. And once I start going to work, my degree is going to be in educational technology, and I'm looking into getting a job where I'm developing software for the education market, like, say, for McGraw-Hill or somebody. But I would be spending 8 hours a day in front of a computer. Now, my eyesight is precious because the vision that I do have is good for somebody who's partially blind, but it's still nowhere near being normal. But I ask somebody who's entirely sighted out there, how many of you spend 8 hours a day in front of a computer, then you come home, fire up your tablet, and start reading? Now, I know that some of you would, use probably your Kindle, but still, that's, to me, that's eye strain. After 8 hours a day on the computer, I would think you'd want to give your eyes a rest. This can play more than just the specialized talking books restricted to people who are blind or have print disabilities. This can play, this can also play Audible.com books, and I think, keywords I think. I know there's a player on the market that can play what they call EPUB, or standard electronic books like you'd find on the Kindle. I don't remember if the Bookport Plus is one of them, but there is a player on the market, I think it might be the BookSense, that can play these files. And, just have the files read to you, and you're thinking, well, wait a moment. I don't need this sort of thing. I already have, I use my sight all the time. I've never had problems. You may think that now, but in the future, the more you do to protect yourself now from unexpected, I just call it preventative maintenance, And speaking as somebody who's gone blind, and I mean completely blind, for 2 months. Now, for me, I was trained because I didn't find out until the incident had happened, but it turns out that they were expecting that to happen. The doctors were thinking it would happen. So I was trained, and for me, it was no big deal. It took me a day or two to get used to my home. It took me a week to get used to the school. But beyond that, once that time had passed, I was just walking around with like nobody's business, able to complete my assignments with, I didn't have this player, but I had a similar player that ran on specialized CDs, had the same markup as these specialized books. They were these specialized books, except just on disc. But for somebody who is newly blind or could stand a chance of going blind, I can tell you from my retinal specialist, people have panicked. They have. So I say, why not get into the preventative maintenance of caring for your eyesight now and give yourself a break at the end? If you'd like to read, why not go ahead and look into one of these talking book players? Yes, they're designed for the blind, but the interface is such that really anybody could pick up on it. And some of you will be thinking, well, wait a moment. I could just get a book on CD, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, or download an audiobook from iTunes. I guess to me, the way I look at it is the less time you spend looking at a screen, the better. And if I had a screen in front of me, even if I downloaded the book from iTunes, if I had a screen in front of me, I'd be tempted to look at it. And in addition to reading the book yourself, there's access software on the iDevices that can read the book to you, but a lot of people probably would not think to use it. So all I'm saying is, and some of you may think, well, that's not reading. Again, we're not talking about using these exclusively. I'm talking about at the end of a long work day where your eyes are probably about ready to fall out of your head. But I don't know. It just seems to me like maybe more people should give this particular technology a chance, because even navigating the device, you would use speech. And in that sense, you would be saving, a lot of people would think, oh, I have perfect vision. I'm going to have perfect vision all my life. A lot of older people are losing their vision, and they're coming to terms with it slowly but surely. But you could lose your vision through a car accident. And with people, at least in my area, with people on the roads getting crazier and crazier all the time, you don't know what's going to happen. So the more preventative measures you can take to protect your eyesight, the better. So I would say go ahead and invest in one of these players. Now, again, you wouldn't be able to read the specialized books that they're primarily designed for, but you could download ebooks from the Gutenberg Project or somewhere else and sideload them into the device and have the electronic speech. That lady that read the words Steve Jobs, that electronic speech would read to you and give your eyes a break. Now, a lot of people would say, well, why not just use, again, iTunes? To me, it's just the more you can save your eyesight, the better. And that includes navigating to the book. And also, these players are a lot more robust in their navigation. If you were navigating, say, a reference work, for instance, how would you like it if CD books or standard audiobooks? Can you go directly to a page? Can you just type in a page number and boom? With CD books, you definitely cannot. With these specialized audiobooks, you can, but that's because we have no choice. But a lot of times, technology for people with disabilities can also benefit the mainstream community, and people just don't seem to, it just doesn't seem to click with them. So that's why I wanted to talk about this. But I'd like to hear your input. What do you think? Do you think, I know there will also, obviously, there are more choices than just the Bookport Plus or any of these specialist audio players out there, but there are very few that I know of. There is one that does have a screenless approach, with the exception of a little LCD screen for time elapse. Go to your library and look for a type of audiobook called Playaway. All it is a device that runs on a AA battery, or AAA, I can't remember which, and it's an audio copy of the book, and it's got a time elapsed and whatnot. It doesn't give you the sophisticated navigation that one of these players would give you, but it is something. But again, this is primarily going towards preserving what eyesight people have right now to avoid long-term effects in the future. What do you guys think? And again, back to the first topic, if I had to recommend a player, the Bookport Plus would be it, hands down. If you'd like me to, I could do a Bookport Plus versus BookSense video. I'm debating doing that. But again, I'd like to hear your input. What do you guys think on both topics? Thank you for watching. Comments are welcome, and have a nice day.